Hello, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Ada and I'm a MetaHuman. I can say custom phrases, just enter some text and press the speak button to get me to recite it. Be aware that I always finish my speeches, so just relax, dude. Hello.
All right, I haven't posted in a while, so here goes nothing. I'm. This video's about the evaluation of the AWS Poly MetaHuman project for Unreal. You can find this right here, and it's kind of a booger to get up and running, but if you I might have some videos on that if people are interested and how to get it to compile. But it uses Amazon Poly text to speech, and it's using the, as you can see here, the Amazon SDK speech, SDK plus whatever, and it's literally sending text to AWS, to my AWS account, which you have to have, and converting that text to speech, and it returns and it plays it. So that's pretty cool, and I thought I'd just go over the project and the code and things like that for people that are interested in. So the first thing that happens right out of the bat is a level sequence plays. And I think the trick is that the level sequence is playing and they're converting text to speech. At the same time. If we go into the AWP, we can see right here that this is one of the Amazon components that's taking this text, sending it to Amazon, and I believe playing it back. So this is the text that she's saying in the very beginning, and we have a delay. So that's kind of interesting. We can also pull this out. Construction script is pretty much the same thing for anything that's MetaHuman related. There's our MetaHuman, and it's got I believe an animation, body idle, that's set on it. So the body idle keeps going. So this is, again, I think it's pretty cool because I wanted to try to do some AWS stuff with MetaHumans, and ta-da, they've pretty much already done it for me, the majority of it. How they're doing it is in the animation graph. Ignore this state machine right now. That's something that I added. We had this idle that was coming in here, play idle, and as the code runs, these visemes change, and as the visemes change, and that's what you saw scrolling down the screen. This is kind of interesting. They play different animations. So they've got what they're doing is they're playing animations based off of the viseme, and that gets blended in to the MetaHuman. And that's kind of interesting. So if we click on this, that probably did something real quick and then we didn't see it. But this is different from the Facebook OBR lip sync component because it actually takes the audio and figures out the visemes on the fly. With the AWS project, they have code that's not there. It's in here. They have code that not only calls the AWS Poly SDK to convert text to speech, but the data that comes back also has the visemes attached. That's super powerful, and that's the way of the future, in my opinion, with these types of automated voice systems, which don't even exist yet, but we're talking about it right now. You're going to want that viseme data already with your audio. You are going to be stuck with AWS voice characters, but that's kind of the same thing with the Google, GCP code that I have. So there's a big distinction right there between what's going on, but you have to have the visemes to animate the face, and that's what's coming in here. This might be able to be converted over to maybe the Fractured Fantasy code, which has a little bit more control over what's going on. I can envision that you're going to have an upper part of the face and then you're going to have a lower part of the face. So I don't know if these pre-built animations, how well they're going to work, but because they're going to have to, the upper part of the face is going to have to be neutral. And I don't know if you're going to have happy visemes and sad visemes. So what that means is that I put together a very simple state machine that might even be deeper than this, but if you're happy and you go into this state machine, you're going to play this particular viseme, and maybe what happens is this viseme that's coming out, maybe you're going to have code in here just like you do in the atom graph. I don't know that, haven't thought about that yet, but you're going to have a set of layered animations, basically if you're happy, if you're sad, whatever your emotions are. And then you're also going to have the viseme data to drive the mouth. So that's kind of where I started going here. And I don't know, if that's going to work or not, but could basically have one blend node and one viseme per state. Anyway, this is a really, this is going, I think, in the right direction, where I may want to be with the MetaHumans and AWS. Back to the big picture is that we have to have, voice coming in, and that has to get converted to text, which has to go out to, AWS. Then when that comes back, you've got the text, but then you have to take the text and send it to your NLP engine to make sense of it. And then it's going to respond back with more text. And then you're going to have to take that text and send it to AWS. So it turns that into speech that gets played, plus you need the vizims to play with that text, if that makes any sense. That's why we have AWS, we have NLP. That's basically why I am working on something, that all runs an AWS. And then all you're doing is streaming audio. This is figuring things out. And then you have the vizim and audio that needs to be played. But the other thing to think about is that when you're doing that to this, sending this stuff to this engine, and the engine in the cloud is sending back different types of data. This data right here, that's just for speech control. You also have, an emotional, I can't do an M, state that needs to also get pushed back. And, Unreal needs to take all this information and then control the animations and everything else. So the emotional state is, as the NLP model is running, it's not just saying, it's not just interpreting and generating text. It's also generating sentiment or sentiment. It's generating, well, that's a happy or a sad statement that I just got. So we have to send that information back to Unreal as well. So this whole thing right here is turning out to be probably a Flask, which is basically a Python little baby web app, or something that is going to take in all that into consideration. So I've got some code that does some of that, but I don't have all of it, and I don't have it in a Flask app. So just to give you an example, okay, here's the poly example. This is how you would do it in Python. And the API is kind of jacked up for Python. You're supposed to be able to ask for these speech marks, the vizims, when you generate the audio. And maybe it's doing that, I don't know. But this code will generate the speech. This code, it didn't seem like it was generating the, see the output format. You need two different formats, or you need to just have this So the C++ SDK has one call that looks almost identical to this, and it gets the visemes back. In Python, it's almost like you have to make two calls, but I don't think that's the end of the world. So this is going to be the code that is basically generating the based off of a speech input, the text input, a speech output. And right now we're writing it to a file, which is a big no-no, but I think I've got code to get this stream and pull it apart. Response audio stream as stream. So, and you can see up in here, this was running, and I want to get the JSON back out of it that's got the visemes. So experiment with that. If we kill this. The other thing I found that is very useful is now Amazon, it was hard to find, now Amazon, again, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, their stuff's kind of all over the place, and they're kind of like Google. They're just not very serious about this, and that's unfortunate. But this is an alpha version of code you can get here. And when you run this, it will output audio. So we can even do that right now. So testing 1, 2, 3, we're running the code, and then right down in here you can start seeing the text. Now the weird thing is how to keep it from, you know, adding, you know, multiple strings. And I think there was a setting somewhere, but the documentation is just kind of hokey on this. The Amazon just, I don't think, get it. You know, they're trying to do the transcribe and, you know, for professional medical, and I just don't think they get, you know, where this could be going with online NPCs that have emotions and you can talk to that aren't, you know, it's not baked in the game. It's just a real stream. So anyway, that's a real quick video of this evaluation. Again, the key points are is AWS is returning text to speech with visemes. That's super important. Google, last time I checked, weren't doing that. So you can see where Amazon might be going is that they're, oh, wait a minute, some of these gamers are, you know, they need the visemes. You don't need the visemes for anything else when you're transcribing. You just need the words. But, so that's interesting. The fractured fantasy code that was in the last couple of demos I did, you already had the audio. So you ran the audio through a model, and then that model on the fly would produce the visemes. Now, that's got to happen on your machine. So, you know, if you could do it on a high-end computer up in the cloud, that would be fantastic. And you can do more processing in the cloud, like I discussed with the emotional state and other types of data that Unreal can use to pose the characters and put the characters in a certain emotional, you know, state. I think that's going to be extremely powerful. So I've got the Python code now. Of course, then again, if I can do it in C++, inside of the MetaHuman inside of Unreal, it's going to be a little bit harder to do. But um, here's the code right here. They give you the code with this Amazon Poly MetaHuman, so you can make a transcribe client and rework the speech component to where it could go back and forth. Of course, we haven't talked anything about the brain. The brain's still not here. The brain that my code was using, and you can check the videos a while back when I'm talking to a cartoon character. That's just a really simple AML brain. And the brain has to do a lot more, not just figure out what you're trying to, what it needs to say back to you, but also what the emotional state is of the conversation. And a dialogue manager as well, back and forth with when people say things, and then they wait for the other person to respond, and then there's kind of a contango, if that's the correct word, back and forth, but and the dialogue manager needs to kind of handle that, and a session manager. Anyway, that's all I've got, and this kind of looks promising, and I'm going to try to graft in the speech part to where you don't have to type things in, but that's going to take a little bit more work. That's about it for right now. So doing a lot of thinking about this stuff. The longer I wait, the more AWS or somebody does for me. And again, I'm not that worried about the MetaHumans part of it. That's just a canvas to paint on with the AI stuff. But if you've gotten this far, I appreciate it, and I'll try to get some more content out. Work's been real busy for me, so been thinking a lot. Just need to get some videos out, but that's about it. Appreciate it. Bye.